Hello everyone, Earl Henderson, Primordial Defense. Thank you for watching. I've got an unboxing video for a set of Gauls double lock handcuffs. So up here, just for comparison purposes, I have a set of Smith & Wesson handcuffs. I don't remember which model that these are supposed to be. It just says Smith & Wesson on them. It says trademark. That's it, and it says patents pending on the back, and then it has a serial number on the back as well. It doesn't say what model they are. I know there's a few different models of Smith & Wesson handcuffs. I just don't know which ones those are. But anyway, I was on Gauls' website getting some new pants, and this showed up on the little bottom scroll thing that shows like recommendations or whatever. And I noticed that the price on them was, I thought, pretty nice. It was like $26 or something like that. And when you think about other brands like the Smith & Wessons, I think they're the lower model they have is like $50-something. And so I thought, wow, like $20-something is a pretty good deal for some handcuffs. So I figured I'd go ahead and get a set, just to have an extra set on hand, and actually just start using those instead of these, because these are actually my dad's handcuffs from when he was a deputy. So I was thinking about taking these and putting them in some kind of like shadow box kind of thing or something or another. But anyway, so this is how handcuffs come packaged. This is the first time I'm opening a brand new package of handcuffs. So you get a couple of keys that come with it, pretty important so that you don't get locked up. So these, and I'll bring this up so you can see it. So these have the Gauls logo on them, and then on the back there's nothing. So it's just the Gauls logo, and then on one of the hinges here is 2191. So I don't know if that's a serial number. It must be a serial number, because according to the NIJ standards, it's supposed to have the manufacturer name and serial number on there, which I did not know that there were NIJ standards for handcuffs until I was reading the back of the box, and it says handcuffs meet NIJ standards. And I thought, well, that's interesting. So then I went and looked them up to see what the heck they were, and found some information. I thought that was pretty cool. So I'll after I get done showing these, I will split to another screen and go over the NIJ standard with you all, so you gotta understand that there's actually some kind of standard that goes in the handcuffs here. So my thoughts on these cuffs is, number one, I do not believe that Gauls has created their own handcuff manufacturing facility. I don't think they have a factory where they're actually making their own handcuffs. What I think they're probably doing is they are contracting with one of the other major handcuff manufacturers and buying a whole line of product from them and just having their logo stamped on there. Don't know this for sure, but that's what I suspect, because I can only imagine like what all goes into making handcuffs, and it would just make more sense to me that they've gone to one of the major manufacturers and have bought a line of product, so to speak. The reason why I say that is because these remind me of a set of cuffs that a friend of mine has, and I want to say they were Peerless cuffs. Just the look of them, the very shiny silver look to them, whereas the Smith & Wesson ones, which these are kind of old, but still, they don't have that shiny of a look to them. And other Smith & Wesson cuffs I've dealt with have not had this shiny of a look, but it was the, I want to say it was the Peerless that my friend had this kind of real shiny look to them. And then they had these, the rivets, outwards like this, that that I think I remember that stuck out to me. Here's for comparison: Smith & Wesson versus Galls. I noticed that the chain on the Galls is just a tad bit longer than the Smith & Wessons, and the chain links themselves are actually a little bit larger as well. And then the swivel eyelet looks almost about the same as far as size goes, but the chain links themselves are noticeably larger on the Galls, and it does allow for the lengthwise to be just a little bit bigger. Weight-wise, which I don't have a scale or anything, but holding these in my hand, I can tell that the Smith & Wesson cuffs are just a little bit heavier. And there is a NIJ standard that specifies that handcuffs cannot be over, or metallic handcuffs cannot be over a certain weight. So although I don't know what the weight of these cuffs are, I can tell you just by holding them that the Galls handcuffs are a little bit lighter. I mean, I don't know what else to talk about in a video for handcuffs. But I mean, they're handcuffs, right? Like, that's really as much as you can say. Now, so one thing I have noticed is the bow and this part. This part actually has a name for it, and I forgot what it was. The bow going into this piece, I can tell with the Smith & Wesson, there's a slight wiggle. And with these, it is a lot more noticeable. You can actually hear it clanking whenever I do that. Whether the Smith & Wesson one, well, if I do it more aggressively, you can kind of hear that clanking noise. But there's a little bit more wiggle room in this one. Other than that, don't know what else to say about the cuffs. They're handcuffs. They're kind of boring. But like I said, I found these. I saw these on the website when I was ordering some pants, and I thought, you know what, for $26, might as well, right? And I think that for $26, you're getting a set of handcuffs that are probably just as good as the name brand Smith & Wesson cuffs or your other brands out there. I will say that the keys that come with handcuffs, I recommend getting either like the ink pen sized handcuff key that you can put into your uniform shirt, or the little ink pen pocket on your sleeve, or just a longer key. It just makes it easier to get in there and take cuffs off of people. They're just really small, and they're not as easy to handle, I guess you could say. Especially when you start to get a grip on it, have such that small little piece to work with. If you get the ink pen sized handcuff key, you can maneuver it a whole lot better and get better leverage on it and get it into the keyholes a lot easier, I think. I've never really liked dealing with these. I've always got the bigger handcuff keys to use. All right, so enough of that. Let's jump over to the NIJ standards for metallic handcuffs. All right, so here is the NIJ standard for metallic handcuffs. And again, I did not know that there was an NIJ standard for handcuffs. This says metallic handcuffs, and so now it makes me wonder if there is a standard for the hybrid cuffs, like the plastic and metal ones from ASP. But it's a 10-page document, goes over definitions, like they outline like what part of the handcuffs are named what. So they give you a nice little diagram here, and this part what's called the cheek plates, and of course, you got the ratchet, the pawl, the keyway, the swivel eye, and the chain. Um, so apparently, for markings, all handcuffs are supposed to have the name and model number on there and a serial number. The weight shall not exceed 425 grams or 15 ounces. It goes over the dimensions, talks about defects in workmanship, talks about the mechanical strength, what they're able to withstand. So they're supposed to withstand so much tensile force, and the salt spray corrosion. They put it in this chamber for 12 hours, spraying it with salt water, and it's supposed to still work after 12 hours. They put some torque on the cheek plate to see how much force they can withstand before separating, coming apart. And then, of course, they talk about the testing equipment. There's a diagram of their torque test. So they just take the handcuff and they put it into a vise, and then they take a tool here, put it in there, and they put the torque on there, and then they torque it to whatever the specification was, and see if it will withstand that amount of force before cracking open. And up there above, it did say, or it did mention that to do the testing, they shall select at random 5 different pair of handcuffs from the manufacturer of the test. So they would be doing this 5 different times on 5 random sets of cuffs. And then this contraption here, they just put the handcuffs into this device, and then of course force would be applied, pulling these apart, and it gets to a certain amount of force, and if it can withstand that force, it passes. If not, then they would snap and come apart. And that's it. That's the NIJ standard for metallic handcuffs, and that's a lot of strength there in the handcuff. So, like I remember, watching videos of people. It's like at these little religious events, like I don't want to say Bible camp, but I don't forget what they're called, but you would see these people go to these churches and they would do these strength things, and one of the things you'd see them do is they put on a pair of handcuffs, and then they pull their hands apart and they rip the cuffs apart. And so, in order for them to do that, they have to be exerting over 495 foot-pounds of pressure to do that. So that's you got to be pretty strong to break a pair of handcuffs. Now there is an interesting technique to break the chains on handcuffs. I'd have to switch to another screen and show you a video of that, but you can work your wrists and rotate them in opposite directions and get the chains to bind in a certain way, and once they kind of lock in kind of place, then you can do like a shearing kind of movement with your wrists, and you can snap these in half. But aside from that, in order to have one wrist pull this way and the other wrist pull this way, that's a lot of force that's needed to snap these chains. So I will give it to the people who do those little demonstrations at those shows. If they are really truly snapping handcuffs like that straight out the box, and they haven't done anything to them to make them easier to break, then that's pretty impressive to have that amount of brute strength to just snap handcuffs in half like that. But like I said, there is a technique to get these chains, bind them, and then shear, and they can snap pretty easily. But every time I've ever seen a demonstration of that, it's always been people having their hands cuffed to the front. And it's a whole lot easier to manipulate things and pick handcuffs when you got your hands cuffed to the front, which is why cuffing to the back is always better. And not only does it make it harder to pick the cuffs or manipulate the cuffs in any way, it also just makes it more difficult for the person to fight and resist when their hands are cuffed behind their back, because it's just pure simple physics. You can't do that much with your hands behind your back. You can still do a whole lot with your hands cuffed to the front. All right, so that's it on the review of the NIJ standards and the review of the Gauls handcuffs. If you like what you hear and see, go ahead and give me a like and a share. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe button and stay tuned for more videos. Earl Henderson, Primordial Defense. Thank you for watching.